So I wasn't going to do this, but it's just too exciting to leave. So Molly's got this right-sided temporalis tension that is related to this sternocleidomastoid shortness. And you can feel that in terms of if you bilaterally check, the temporalis, the one on the right's got 30% more tone than the one on the left. And if you check the length of the sternocleidomastoid, the left one just goes and goes and goes. And the right one, see I've got the sternocleidomastoid here. I can rotate this way, and it's quite a bit shorter. It's actually not as short as it was. We just had a break, and I compulsively treated the sternocleidomastoid, so it's a little bit looser. But yeah, crazy length, some shortness, and that flows into the temporalis. The masseter is the powerhouse of the jaw and doesn't respond to positional changes too much. The temporalis, due to its fan-shaped orientation relative to its insertion on the mandible, allows it to adjust for all sorts of changes in position. So it's common for the temporalis to be on a whack when you've got any kind of sideways imbalance in the person's body, like scoliosis and so on. So what I'd like to show is we'll release the sternocleidomastoid, and we'll bring that up into the temporalis fibers as well, so that this whole thing can be longer, and that'll support Molly's neck to have better alignment and to actually be able to move more evenly side to side, and that will give her a more symmetrical sort of stage for her jaw to rest upon, or skull in her jaw. To relate to is a better word, I guess. Okay, so the sternocleidomastoid, I would look for some high tone in that, and we've got some high tone here, and we've got some more up in here. So I can challenge the tone and wait for the tone to drop, and there's lots of different ways to do that. I want to show you guys like a really cool way though, and for that, we'll just have you slide toward me there, Molly. Mm-hmm. A little bit more. That's great. Now what I want to do is I line up the sternocleidomastoid insertion here of the mastoid with the sternum, and there's the clavicle there. So then I sort of bend the muscle over Molly's neck. I've got my hand underneath the downside part of her, so her ear's not getting shredded by the table. This is also the test position for the vertebral artery, so I always ask people if they feel dizzy or nauseous or anything. No. And you don't. That's great. And you keep an eye on their eyes, because if the vertebral artery's got a bit of a compromise to it and you exaggerate it, then they can get some nystagmus too, so their eyeballs will be going like that. So if she doesn't feel dizzy, she doesn't feel nauseous, and her eyeballs are not going, and she's not uncomfortable in this position, it's not hurting her. So now the muscles on orthopedic stretch, and in that sense, it's much easier to find the high tonal elements that shorten it. So I've got a nice high tone element here. I can just wait for that to relax. I don't want to get really busy with this because you've got these vascular structures and neural structures in here. So I just want to create some feedback. If that's not going deeply enough or effectively enough, I'm going to slide my fingers underneath her head so that she's not grinding on the table again. And then this hand is free. So Molly, look at my fingers, please. Yeah. Don't move your head, though. Yeah. So you look at my fingers and just follow my fingers around. So she follows my fingers around, and there'll be a place at which her gaze is directed to a certain spot that the tone is increasing in the SCM. So hold the gaze there and take a deep breath in. Hold the breath, hold the gaze, and relax your breath and relax your eyes. Just let your eyes unfocus. Great. The muscle softens. I'm bowing it a bit and stretching her SCM a little bit more. And I repeat 3 times, good releases, and then I'll have the tone dropping in the SCM, and then I want to lengthen it. I'm just within the plane of the muscle here, not on neurovascular structures. I hold on to the muscle, I'm in the plane of it, and we stretch and lengthen the SCM. How are you doing?
Good.
Merveilleux. Okay. And there's a whole myofascial density by design that all of us have around here, and that feeds right into the temporalis fascia and the temporalis muscle. So I'm within that plane, and then just getting more length through there. That's great. And I can do quite a bit, in terms of dropping the tone in the temporalis and engaging its fascia and opening it. That's great. Okay. And then slide downstream, please. Great. Maybe just another half an inch. Good. Now, I don't have time for all the details on the temporalis, but the online course has got that. But let's just treat the temporalis intra-orally to optimize things too. So remember the hand signal protocol? Pull that hand out. Thank you. Ouvrez, s'il vous plaît. And what I do is I slide along the back of the upper teeth, and I run into the mandible. She's got to move her jaw a little bit over to my side. There I'm on the temporalis. And I can feel on the fullness of the ramus, of the coronoid process of the mandible, it gets fuller and fuller as I go back. Those are the fibers, the posterior ones that attach onto the posterior part of the temporalis here. How are you like that?
Good.
Okay. Something like that. So we're releasing the temporalis intra-orally, and the myofascial elements of the temporalis that correspond to that extra-orally. Merveilleux. Okay. So there's a bit of a précis on that. What we're doing is we're unraveling this whole myofascial shortness through here, up in through here, that contributes to a compression and twist in the neck there and sets the stage for imbalance in the TMJ.